we have the opportunity to talk with Jeff Kischuk, who is the founder and CEO of Tripian. And before getting to know better these promising startup, I would like to ask Jeff to make a brief presentation of who he is, his background, how he has reached his current responsibilities.
Great. Thank you, Javi. I really appreciate this opportunity. It's always an interesting journey as we get to be a founder of a company in our later stage. And the interesting thing, I've been a founder of many companies. I think Tripian is my third or fourth company that I've led. I've led companies through different verticals, be it energy management, e-commerce. The common thing through all of these endeavors is they've always been data-driven. I've always been inspired and motivated to know how data can be applied to solve problems, how technology can leverage that data to do more things. And I've done a lot of advisory work in digital transformation. And 5 years ago, I was introduced to Tripian because it was a passion of travel, which I've been a lifelong traveler. I've had my data background in business consulting, and opportunities presented themselves where I had, could take my data knowledge, advice in startups, digital transformation, and apply it to the travel vertical. And I think I've become fully converted into travel tech, where when I started, it was an interesting new scheme, but now I'm fully invested, and I've just fallen in love with travel tech and really looking forward to what we can do with Tripian in this space.
Uh-huh. I know that Tripian has now a close relationship with Plug and Play, one of the most reputed accelerators in the world, which has a very close relationship with the travel industry. So I would like to ask Jeff, why you chose to participate in the Plug and Play program. What is your experience? How it has helped the company? So the main learners, the learnings, the opportunities. So it would be great if you could share what has meant Plug and Play for Tripian, and if you would recommend all the travel tech startups to follow your path.
Oh, wow. That is such an interesting question. And it really roots back to a few years ago as we were accelerating and growing as a company pre-pandemic, when we were getting some momentum in the market. And we were looking for, those accelerators. Where would the right path to be? And we first thought of applying to Plug and Play back in 2019, 2020, but we weren't quite ready. And when I say we weren't ready, it's one of the things that attracted us to Plug and Play, and which got us to apply this year, and so happy to be accepted, is that the structure of Plug and Play. It's very well structured. There's a lot of corporate partners. There's a lot of mentors. There's a lot of sessions. It requires a lot of time commitment. And we wanted to make sure that we were mature enough to be able to give into the program, to participate, to actively engage, have our value proposition very well figured out, have our technology mature, because in order to accelerate, we needed a platform. We needed a base to accelerate from. We couldn't just start with an idea. Right. So what we've really benefited from Plug and Play is the nature of the corporate partners, the amount of commitment we see the corporate partners giving, not only to the deal flow meetings, but to their sessions, their accessibility afterwards. And that's a real testament to Plug and Play, the relationship they have with their corporate partners to get that level of involvement. There's another real interesting thing that I've really didn't surprise me, but we've really benefited from, and that is the mentors. They really encourage us to reach out to mentors, to engage with mentors, to help solve problems, to help bounce ideas off of. And while we were hesitant at first, as we gained confidence and traction, we've gotten so much benefit from the mentors in the program. Just really getting that sort of being able to expand your team. And one of the good outcomes in working with the mentors is we met with one mentor who's helping us formulate our advisory group, our advisory board. And just having that level of industry expertise to help us shape our advisory board for this stage of growth has been fantastic. Mm-hmm. It would be, I also have to say the other members in the cohort. the collaboration and the discussions we're able to have with the other participating companies. And there's even one or two that we're exploring how we can go to market together and how we can support each other in business. So just the very nature of business networking with other startups, it's not only the mutual support of going through and sharing experiences, but realizing there's business synergies there as well. And finally, I have to say that the plug and play staff, the amount of commitment they have, the follow-up, the energy they put into it, making sure that we're busy, that we're active, helping us schedule meetings, helping schedule follow-ups. It's, that's the nature of the plug and play accelerator. It is very committed. The resources are there. It's very structured. And for a pragmatic engineer like me, it checks a lot of those boxes.
Okay, so perfect explanation of why it was a good decision. As you said, when you were actually prepared for that, I think it's really smart to understand when an accelerator program is really useful and when it's not. Let's focus now on Tripian. First question is, where are you mainly based?
Well, that's interesting. Our headquarters is in Canada. So we've run the company out of Canada, but our development and engineering
You're
team.
actually now in Toronto?
I'm in Toronto, Canada.
Yeah.
And our engineering teams and our development teams are based in Turkey. And that is my co-founder was Turkish. So our engineering team are all our staff, and they've been with us now for 5 and 6 years. A very committed, dedicated team. And in terms of market, what that does is it allows us is we really market globally. Is we don't have a geographical boundary of where our services go. Being, again, when I talk about data centric, we look at data as global data, and therefore we're able to get our data in different global areas, get global geographies, and then help solve problems in any geography. We're not a geographically bound solution.
Mm-hmm. Normally the most important, the most relevant question, which is the problem you solve?
The problem we solve is a problem I've experienced my whole life, and that is the gap that exists. It's the way I characterize it. It's easy to plan to go to Barcelona. It's easy to book your flight. It's easy to book your hotel. It's easy to book that main ticket of that attraction. But what do you do the rest of your day? What do you do? Where are the galleries? Where are the cafes? Where are the little monuments you should see? Where are those little secret neighborhoods? Where are those real local experiences that you really want when you travel to really heighten your experiences, make you feel like you're knowing how a local goes? And the interesting thing is that Tripian, our trademark is feel like a local wherever you go. And we've used that as the inspiration for the problem we solve, is helping locals, helping your travelers and your guests feel like a local and get those real intimate and authentic experiences in a digital way that travelers can use it when they travel and as well as when they aspire to plan their in-destination activities.
So you're a platform which provides this inspiration and also make possible to book the different activities or the different tickets, etc.
Correct. Yes.
And
so
what's the difference, for instance, with Get Your Guide or a Klook or these kind of companies? Which, well, the main one is that they are B2C companies, but in this complex structure, where do you position yourself?
Oh, fantastic. So at Tripian, we're a B2B player. Is we're not D2C. So we provide our services to help, OTAs and different travel platforms, travel service companies fill that gap. Many OTA sites don't have a real good tool for planning their in-destination activities. So I love the context you mentioned. So you'll go to an OTA and they'll have that one big page, things to do in Barcelona. And the guests will review it. There's maybe 75 things to do and they won't pick one because they don't know what they're doing when they're going to get there because it's 2-3 months away. But if that OTA plugged in Tripian and that user could start planning their day and start realizing, oh, on Thursday afternoon, July 13th, I'm going to be downtown Barcelona and here's a museum that Tripian's recommending I should go to, that's when we present that ticket back. So we are integrated with the Get Your Guides, Viators, with those content providers. So Tripian provides the OTAs with another distribution channel for their content, for those tickets and tours, to get in front of the travelers at a different time in their travel planning cycle, so that they will come back and buy it through their experience and their brand in their OTA by having that itinerary planner and not necessarily forgetting about it. So we add that conversion channel for their existing partnerships and content.
So actually, you are the fulfiller is the OTA or the activities seller. So you are not
Correct.
closing the deals directly with the providers of the activities or the tickets.
Correct. Well, we have a deep integration, and in that deep integration, we're able to pass, say, the OTA's affiliate ID or merchant ID into the booking flow. So when the providers have that deep integration available, we can accommodate that UX, but using the OTA's IDs, so they get all the booking credits and the commissions back through their IDs and their accounts.
So the idea, if I'm not wrong, you are solving part of the travel cycle for different players, like OTAs, airlines, EVs, credit card companies.
Correct.
Trying to help them to improve the traveler experience by inspiring them what to do.
Correct. Yeah, it's about, it's the brand extension. It's extending the brand, keeping the user in their branded experience. One of the interesting things is when we met with a large travel company and we were demoing Tripian, how it would live in their system. And one of the people asked, well, can't they just go to Google and look that up? And I just said, just off the cuff, I said, well, they could, but would you rather them work in your brand and ecosystem, or do you want it to tell them to go away? And so what Tripian, we believe in going B2B, is to have those rich experiences, to have that search, to have that curated information in the brand's experience where the users can stay and transact and fulfill their whole travel experience without having to go to multiple different service providers.
So the idea is, okay, I bought a ticket, applied, and obviously there is an option in Google, which is things to do in a destination. So the traveler could go there and try to make their way and find another travel companies that are selling in this Google page. But the idea is, let's try to keep those travelers more attached to our brand and try to help them to complete the experience with this brand, because actually Tripian is not, it's a brand that is not known by the clients.
Correct.
So the final traveler doesn't know that the plumber behind the one which is playing behind the scenes, Tripian is not known for them, if I'm not wrong.
Exactly. That's 100% correct. And I think that's partially our Canadian modesty, is we want to provide that service
Like that.
and let somebody else have the front end and have the brand recognition.
And now it's we could say that it's one of the most booming spaces, activities. And there are a lot of companies, not only in Europe and in the North America, but also in Asia, with a lot of funding, etc. How do you forecast the evolution of the in-destination activities?
As you mentioned, that's a really dynamic and changing ecosystem. And I think, what we know is user expectations over the last couple of years are really shifting towards more that authentic experience and in destination, not just going to the major attractions, but really getting that feeling. And what goes with that is changing user behaviors, is changing of dollar spend, changing of how people behave and where they go. And we've always believed that Tripian fulfills that and can add to that and really, enable travelers to have those authentic experiences. And what we see in technology is, and it's ironic that at Tripian, we've been around for 6 years. We've been, working with AI for a number of years, researching it, following it, keeping current. So when the whole latest craze of ChatGPT came out, a few colleagues went, "Oh, that's a threat." And we went, "No, this is fantastic, because we've been waiting for these tools to help, because it really drives the user interaction and user adoption." But the more important thing when we think about the business need and market driver for it is that all of the attention that OpenAI is given, and all the use cases you seem to see when you open anything on travel, it's all about itinerary generation, customer service, and content. So we go, great, this is validating that travelers have this need and demand to have more digital tools, to have more information at their fingertips, to have more control of how they plan their days and how they experience and things they see. So, we see this demand coming. We see the technology helping us even enhance our product more. And that is what really represents the business opportunity, where we can work with our B2B clients, with the OTAs, to help them rapidly adopt these new digital technologies without deep investments, without long learning curves, because we've been there, we've done that. We have that product ready to go, and we can really help these companies deliver these services in a timely manner.
Well, I think one of the main problems of that subvertical is the fragmentation of the offer, especially, obviously, if you consider not even countries, cities, now the offer that you can find in Paris, London, New York, etc. Okay, it's more digitalized. You can access more easily to inventory. You can get instant confirmation pricing. But obviously, especially in the multi-day tours, the situation gets much complicated and much worse. So in terms of the technology, on the one hand, the technology, on the other one, the negotiation with these so fragmented suppliers, how do you envision yourself, Tripian, in the future? Which is the role you would like to play?
Oh, thank you. The road that we want to play, again, is by nature of our foundation is to be the data aggregator, to be that data source. One of the things we're really good at is aggregating, incorporating, cleansing content. It's working with more APIs, working with those more data sources, and combining them into something that is useful. So rather than, we try to break down the silos of, oh, go here, go there, we want to bring that information together. When we really look at it, the best unified user experience is the most informed. And the more information we're able to bring in from events platforms, from city platforms, from local bloggers, from travel advice, is really going to enhance that rich experience. And we always believe that Tripian is that conduit for taking all that information, processing it, make it available for a user, and then returning it back to them in a way that they can use, way that's mapped, that is time stamped, that has routing information, that has weather information. It's really having that sort of aggregation of those different verticals and those different contents. So regardless of where you go in the world, if there is a different type of data source, then the experience will adjust to that.
Let's talk a little bit more about your competitive landscape. What are the companies you consider your main competitors in the different geographical areas?
Yeah, there's some really good companies out there. There's a lot of established, interesting companies. There's a company like Kischuk that a lot of people may not have heard about, that have a D2C app that do similar things to that Tripian does. And the interesting thing is that that's why 4 years ago we decided to really make a focus on B2B. So soon as there's somebody says, "Oh, here's a cool D2C app," we go, "Well, it's great. They got some good UI." But what we'll find is that the fact that they're D2C, business OTAs can't go and use them. It's so they negate themselves from what we would consider a direct competitor. There, on the other end of the spectrum, there's a lot of some other companies that are B2B, but they focus on more of the big tickets and tours, more of the larger traditional fulfillment items. Whereas Tripian, we came at it from those granular POIs. Like I said, from
because you don't actually include transfers and local transportation. It's just mainly activities, no? Because some cases, as you mentioned, B2B companies, for instance, Servant Trip is
Yep.
offering transfers and also activities. Hollybob is more focused exclusively on activities. And what you say is that you are capable to be a little bit more capillary, no? So instead of going to the mainstream, you are capable to offer not so trite activities to your customers, not your clients, no?
Yeah, correct. The more granular, and we would look to those providers you mentioned, especially around transfers with some of our clients as an integration partner.
Yeah, not as distribution of, and actually they are providing to the clients, so they are enriching the experience of the clients. Instead of investing a lot of money developing their own technology, they are more or less what the airlines did several years ago when they decided to include in their website, in the traveler experience, the hotels after they have bought the tickets. No, now it's trying to close the circle, adding this kind of what?
Yeah,
it's not too.
Sorry.
No, sorry. Yeah, please.
No, it's interesting you mentioned airlines. Is I think we were going to talk about some other potential applications, and let's stop at airlines for a second, because airlines for us is an interesting opportunity, because as you mentioned, they started with hotels, then they started selling activities and in destination, and now with the digital content on the aircraft, they're starting to feature digital destination guides. And I've been traveling quite a bit over the last couple of years, and I pay very close attention to the airline digital destination guides, both on their websites and in the seat back. And they talk about offering like a few things to do when you go to Prague, for example. But the user experience stops there. And we would love to see them adopt Tripian to close the loop and fill that gap, to allow the traveler, when they're on their way to Prague, to then take that digital content to the next level and plan a more enriched experience when they're in Prague, again, in the airline brand. So, airlines are slow to adopt, but, we really, really see that the, use case and demand that the airline travelers, they need to own the traveler through their whole cycle. And, they're not just going to be happy with selling hotels and a couple of experiences and airplane tickets.
Yeah, well, conceptually it makes all sense. I guess a company called Civitatis, a Spanish one.
Sorry,
Civitatis, which is one of the large B2C. One, I'm not mentioning that because they have a close deal with airlines, but because one of the triggers that they use to get relevance was using the advertising platform of, for instance, Iberia in the flights, because it was the right time for the travelers to be engaged with proposal of what to do. They were not capable to buy anything at that time, but they began to relate directly, doing activities in destination with the brand, with that brand, and it was one of the biggest success. So if you go the extra mile and you could solve, not only inspiring and suggesting what to do there, by adding the possibility to book it, that will change completely the space. No, so I think it's what you are proposing. I think it's a very good idea, and has a lot of potential for sure. Before, you have mentioned that there is not actually any constraint in terms of geographical footprint, so you are capable to provide with the right offer. I guess that sometimes will be some limitation in terms of the language you provide information. I mean, if you have to translate, if you begin to work with a South Korean OTA, I guess you should be capable to provide all the information in South Korean. But a part of these typical constraints, which are normal for any e-commerce experience, because at the end of the day, as you have mentioned with your previous experience, this is e-commerce.
Yeah, exactly.
There is nothing that has stopped you for being capable to partner with travel companies all around the world.
That is 100% correct. And the key thing there, and I think we've talked about it a few times through, is the advancement of technology and the digital capabilities and the speed in which, like over the last even 3 years, we've seen massive improvements in online digital translation tools and content tools. We hear, OpenAI is going to be starting to come up with multi-language, tools, and just we see how rapid those, OpenAI is learning new languages and converting content. So, and that's again our advantage at Tripian is being able to adopt and use those technologies quickly. And the way we've architected our solution and our data models is such that we've always had the eye to support external translators to quickly translate, whether it's in the browser, whether it's in the app, to make sure that we are not the technology constraint, but we're using the best services in order to do things like translation. We have clients in Europe now who, are using our services to translate to Dutch, French, German, Spanish, and it's all again done in a data layer.
That's good. Last question, not an easy one. What are your perspectives for 2023 and 2024? Just 1 year and a half. It's difficult, not so, because asking for where do you see your company in 5 years, it's like playing magic. So just 1 year and a half. So at the end, what are your goals for the end of this year and your goals for 2024?
Oh, thank you. I think our goals are really those to mirror the travel and travel tech themselves. One thing we learned, and a lot of our travel tech companions saw, is that 2022, as travel recovered, the spend and the innovation wasn't there. A lot of the commercial companies were riding out what they had to make sure that the numbers came back and their business models were solidified. So in 2023, is our goal for 2023 is to have that kind of acceleration, like with plug and play. It's to get in with the large companies, with large OTAs, with large travel and hospitality companies who are beginning to innovate again. And we're seeing that. We're seeing the interest to innovate and spend. We're seeing the market need change and trend. So in 2023 at Tripian is we want our relevance to increase. We want to have, 2 or 3 large commercial enterprise customers who are adopting us, to your point, behind the scenes. So their customers are getting the service, but they don't know Tripian. And going into 2024, it would be to get that, extension, to grow the team, to have more product teams globally, to have more customer success, and also to keep expanding and integrating to grow, rapidly, to be a more global player. The travel industry has a massive TAM, and we want to be a nice niche player and be a respected technology provider that's reliable, that people want to use, and that we continue to innovate, so we never, our customers will continue to innovate with us.
Yeah, fun. It sounds rugged and sounds really good. We wish you the best luck, and we are pretty sure that you will be success, and Tripian will keep on growing. Probably we will be meeting in November in Focusrite in Miami in Fort Lauderdale, and we'll have the opportunity to talk personally. But by now, I just have to say thanks, Jeff, for your time and for your fantastic explanation of what you are doing. I think it's incredibly useful and relevant for the activity industry, that companies like yours have the right mindset, the right deployment of technology, and the right vision to try to convert what was something to happen into something that is actually happening. Because we've been reading reports for many years talking about millions of euros for the travel industry. Oh, it's bigger than anything. And well, at the end of the day, and you mentioned before 2019 to 2020 and even 2021, if it was bad for the flights and hotels, for activities, was a disaster.
Yeah.
There was a total collapse. Unfortunately, this has been changed, and I think that you're actually now riding the right wave, and that's great. So thanks again for your time, Jeff. And
thank you.
It will be a pleasure to interview you again at the end of the year, taking advantage of that Focusrite conference, so you can explain all the goals and achievements you've made in this month.
I'm really looking forward to that, and thank you for Travelthink, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I really enjoyed it.
Travelthink is a non-profit initiative launched and managed by Dr. Javier Gonzalez-Soria in 2006, focused on new trends, innovation, and startups in the travel tech space. Thousands of professionals receive the Travelthink news, where travel top leaders and entrepreneurs share their insights and reflections.